and welcome to my YouTube channel, Juliet Neil Crafts. So today we are doing take 5 book pages, muted colours, plants and something see-through. So that's quite interesting. Muted colours, not something I often do. So I've pulled out this book because it's got some transparent, there we go. So I've got some transparent sentiments, and we also have in amongst it somewhere we've got various plant images. So I thought that would be quite good because that's kind of those two prompts covered, and the colours are fairly muted. So I'm going to work in my Dina Weekly journal. Look how fab and chunky this is getting. It's like, oh, I'm definitely on the home straight with this one, so that's quite exciting. It's got quite muted colours on it. Where are we? Where shall we go? Where shall we go? It's terrible, isn't it? It's like decisions of where to stick with the original plan. Should we just do this one here at the beginning? I'm going to have to put something behind this though, so that I've got something to lean on. Okay, so I've ripped these papers out of that book, and as soon as I rip them out, I fancy them on the burlap. They just seem to go really well on the burlap. So this might be a bit of a risk because I struggle, quite frankly, using the burlap pages. But I'm thinking I might just make an incredibly simple sort of layout on here and just keep it dead simple for a change. So maybe if we get just, especially this paper, and this paper's got the plant element as well, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to have to get a sheet of paper, behind this, because when I start gluing and sticking and whatnot, it's not going to like it very much, is it? It's going to stick to one of my favourite pages in the book. So, right, I'm just going to stick a sheet of paper between there so it don't cause any damage. There we go. And then I'll get my book page out as well. We'll put that in amongst the paper. Also thinking some staples could be quite nice. We'll see how we go. So a little bit of book paper. Now, do I want a little bit coming up from the bottom as well? I'm going to keep my design sort of top heavy, to be honest. Right, let's get some gel medium and we'll stick that down. Fantastic thing about gel medium is it literally sticks anything to anything. So the fact that we've got burlap going on here and card, it's not be a problem to it in the slightest. It'll all be good. Right, pop that down there, and then this one. Both sides, I think. I love doing this challenge because I do have a sort of set style, not necessarily style, but way that I journal, and this quite often, because the prompts are different, like muted colours isn't really my thing. And I've just put orange in, so I'm not exactly how muted that is, but this is very muted for me. It's not bright pink and turquoise or teal and hot pink. So pale pink. is quite muted for me. So I'm taking that. Right. Put that there. I don't like the way that corner is sticking out there, but I will resolve that in just a second. Okay, so I'll put that down there like so. Right, and then what I'm thinking is I think that book that I'd pulled out has like sort of frame elements and things. So I'm thinking I'll get a little frame with a plant. And that'll probably be us. So I'm going to have a little look of for some extra elements whilst that's drying. So I've just pulled out a couple of elements from that book. I can see this being an incredibly simple page. To pop this little frame down. I've still not used the crayons, but I'm liking the layout as is, and I think I'm just going to leave it. I will use the crayons, but what I'm hoping to do is just use them for a little bit of shadowing. So I'll still use them, but yeah. So I'm just going to put glue, because obviously because this is a transparent thing, whatever glue you use is going to show through. So I'm just putting a tiny bit just at the end here, and then the plant pot will cover that. So that'll sort of flap about on the page. That's okay, adds extra dimension. So what I will do is just possibly put a little bit of clear gesso around some of the elements, and just for, because there's a bit of gel medium on the top which is going to resist the crayon, and we've got different styles of papers down, so I'm just going to unify that all a little bit with a little bit of clear gesso. And then, as I said, I think I'm just going to do the shadowing, use the crayons to do a bit of shadowing, and then possibly some white splashes, and I think that could be me. So let's get some clear gesso on it. Let's pop a little bit down. Like so. As I said, that's just going to give me a surface to work on when I get the crayons, because I can see that there's gel medium leaked through some of those areas, and as I said, we're working on book paper, which is going to absorb the colour really quickly. It's not going to move, it's just going to soak it up, and then the thicker paper is going to react slightly differently, so it's just going to give me a slightly better opportunity of making a better job of it if I just prime it first. So again, I'm just going to let that dry, and I'll be back in a moment. So I'm going to use this distress crayon here, which is crushed olive, and I'm just, as I said, going to attempt to use this for shadowing. So I don't know if I'm going to shadow the whole thing at the minute. I'm sort of thinking just the plant and maybe the frame, and after that we'll see how it's looking and whether I want to do more or not. So at the minute I'm just getting a bit of colour down, and then we'll get some water on that and pull it out a little bit. Okay. I am quite pleased. This is very, very different. I'm always quite excited when I do something that's really different for me, because it is just nice to, because even sometimes when you get prompts or supplies, you still sort of take it down your own route. But this does feel really, really quite different for me. Interesting to see how it's reacting on the different surfaces. We're still managing to get a little bit of shadow even on the burlap, so that's cool. Obviously it's going to be heavier when we move over to the paper, but it's just obviously I'm just really wanting this frame and the prompts, the plant, to stand out from the other colours. Now some of it, because the crayon ended up It's not as accurate as the pencil that I would normally use. It's a bit further away, so rather than pulling out, I almost sort of activated it and pushed it into the where I wanted it to go, so that it's not too heavy. So that's what I did just there. I'm just going to have to turn this around because it's at an angle that's getting a bit awkward for me. Actually, I don't need this now because I'm not working on, I thought I was going to be working on the other page, so I'm sort of twisting my head a little bit to try and get this so that the page is still in the camera. It's just proving a little bit awkward. Like that, yeah. So it's nice. It's like very, very simple, very different, but it just shows you can create even if you don't have a lot of time. I mean, I love getting lost in craft projects that sometimes they take me days. And I love that, and there's a place for that. But sometimes there's also a place for, sometimes we just need, creativity is good for us. I used to like work as a therapist, and it was one of the main things. We're all wired to create. If you actually look at really young children, they're very, very creative. You know, they want a pen in their hands, they want to be drawing, or they're dancing, or they're making up stories and songs, or they're building things with their Lego bricks, or they're very, very creative by nature. And then gradually we seem to lose or many seem to sort of not recognise the need for creativity. It kind of can get bashed out of us, you know, as we're told to colour in the lines or this, that and the other. We're given loads of rules to follow and we don't have the same freedom just to create. And I think that's what art journaling's about. It's about throwing the rule book out and just creating because you absolutely feel like it, and doing what you want to do, making it yours. And I think that's one of the fabulous things about journaling. And then also we tend to sort of put it at the bottom of the list of priorities. You know, we tend to sort of maybe have you know, housework or jobs or looking after our family, which are important. I'm not saying they're not, but I'm just going to put a heavier bit here so that it grounds it. But sometimes taking time out and doing stuff for us is one of the best things that we can actually do for our family and people that we love, because being creative sort of feeds our souls. It's good for us, and it means that our family and that are getting the best of us, then they're getting the, you know, the real us, not the tired, exhausted, anxious us. So yeah, it's good to take a bit of time out, and then being able to sort of put a journal page like this together really quickly has been quite liberating, and just showing that, you know, you don't need a lot of time and a lot of stash to be able to take a little bit of time out for yourself. If you've got 5 minutes, it's amazing what you can create in 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm just sort of emphasising the shadow here, so I'm grounding that plant. So even though we've sort of got all the paper and stuff coming down, it's still grounded. I really, really like this. It's so different, but I really, really like it. Right, I'm just going to grab my, I think my Dina Weekly Gloss Spray, and I'm just going to pop some white splashes, and I think that'll be me. Spare bit of card down there just to cover my sentiment. I'm using gloss spray because it's acrylic, so I just think it'll stay more opaque on the project, especially as we've got sort of the burlap and different things going on. That's not really quite what I was going for. Seem to be having difficulty splashing this. Right, let's get something to try and sort of bring it down the page so it's on the burlap as well. There we go, we're getting there, getting a bit more, getting stuff actually showing up on the page. Marvellous. Okay, lift that. Oops, there we go. So, I quite like the fact it's all just in one little corner. That's quite cute. So thank you so much for joining me. Please do check out, there's 12 of us ladies that do this challenge, and the most exciting thing about this challenge is it's open to everybody. So if you use the hashtag Take 5 Art will find you and we'll come and give you some love, give you some crafty love. And if you do a video, if you like Kyra know, then she will put you on this month's playlist. Also, please don't forget to check out what all the other ladies have done. You will find a wide variety of inspiration for you. They're all amazing, so please do check it out. If you have enjoyed it here, please do consider liking and subscribing, and I will be back again with some more crafty goodness very, very soon. Okay, take care then, and goodbye.